brain's gone really insane, and I'm off the chain, sipping on a fifth of the golden grain. I feel like slapping a nigga today, slap, slap, slapping a nigga today, slap, slap. Slapping a nigga today, slapping a nigga today. You ever feel like just slapping somebody?
Not anyone in particular.
Oh.
I feel like in people in general, but
You've just been on your job and somebody said something out of pocket and you just wanted to walk up to him and slap him. No? Never?
no.
Never.
I get upset with people who do stupid shit. Maybe not say stupid shit, but they just do stupid shit, and I'm just looking at them like, why you did that?
But you never wanted to slap him.
I do want to slap them in the moment, but it's not like it's because of what they're doing, not anything else.
Mm.
It could have been anybody.
Right. Well, I could dig it because I feel like slapping niggas all the time. But, I show restraint. Oh, welcome to the Excuse Me Brother podcast show. I'm your host, Brother Jay. With me tonight is just us two. So who's with me tonight, bro?
I have no idea. Who am I?
Hey?
I said I have no idea. Who am I?
You know who you are. You can introduce yourself.
Producer Jay.
Yeah, and for the first time, it's just me and you tonight. Oh, Brother Tay is out here doing birthday things. At the time of this recording, producer, or I should say Brother Tay, has just turned 29 years old. So shout out to Brother Tay on his 29th birthday.
It's funny because even though we're the same age, I feel so much older than him.
I think because you're at different stages in your life than he is.
True.
He's still in his young, wilding 3 days, and you're in your settling down, father, kids, husband, wife thing.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhere in the middle.
You're still trying to figure it out. You're trying to transition.
Facts. Yeah, let's go with that. I like that word, transition.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight, brother? Or producer? Well, you still a brother? No? Yes?
I'm still a brother. Call me brother. I'm doing all right. Today was actually a pretty good Friday in terms of like smoothness, because I feel like Fridays are always hectic for me.
Why is that?
Like I work and then I gotta come home and I gotta get the kids ready to take them to my dad's, which we're gonna do after this. But otherwise, it's been pretty smooth.
Oh, word.
Actually caught the train on time, which is crazy. Like literally, you ever like get into the station right as it's pulling up?
Yes.
And then there's seats.
Yes.
It was just like, oh my God, this is like, it's so beautiful.
It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just, everything aligns so perfectly, and you get a seat right where you need to. Yeah. Are you one of those New Yorkers that, like, when they ride the train, they know exactly what car they need to be in, what door, so that way when the train reaches their station, they know exactly where to get off?
Well, so I never like choose it in particular. I kind of just know where I'm gonna be at because like, so normally I try to go towards the end of the train, like towards the back of the cars or whatever, because that's where the steps are when I get off at the stop that I usually get off. But I get off at different stops depending on the day. So sometimes I get off at Parkchester, sometimes I get off at Castle Hill, sometimes I get off at Westchester Square. It really just depends on the day. So it's kind of like whatever I get off, I know where I'm going to be at based on where I have to get off.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Usually I know exactly where I need to be, because a lot of times when I was taking the trains, I would be going to the same places. Like if I was going to school back in St. John's, I know which cars I had to be in. When I was going to, when I used to work in Queens, I know which cars I had to be on when I got on the 5 or the N or the 7. So it was a science, you know what I'm saying? You know which car was, and if the trains had different models, you knew which car that you had to be in on this side or whatever. So it's all a science. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, on busy days, I just get on whatever. Like, I don't, whatever I can, I scope out real quick just to see if I see any empty spots or which one is less crowded. So that way I could just like at least stand in the corner and not feel like people breathing down my neck.
well, people always breathing down your neck, make you want to slap somebody.
Yeah, sure.
New Yorkers don't understand personal space.
Absolutely not.
So, always sometimes that's why I feel like slapping somebody sometimes. Speaking of slapping somebody, hashtag segue, right?
Yeah. I knew where you were going.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. That's why I started the song. I mean, the podcast with that song, "Slapped by Ludacris." It's a brilliant song. I love it. You should go listen to it when you get a chance. You weren't with us.
No, I was still just listening at the time.
Right. When Tay and I did that episode about the Oscar slap by
Right.
when Will Smith ran up on the stage and slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars last year. You weren't. You were just a listener at the time. You weren't even our producer yet, right?
I don't think so, no.
What did you think about it? What were your opinions, your thoughts and opinions on it?
I mean, it's been a year, so it's like a lot of new information has come out. And it's
really been a year?
Yeah. The Oscars is this Sunday. Yeah, it's been a year. So that's why, I mean, we're gonna talk about why the comedy specials came out when they did, because it's like the anniversary of the whole incident. But initially when it happened, I thought it was a skit. I thought it was fake. I thought it was just, they're just messing around or whatever. Because it's like you hear Will Smith and Chris Rock, you think you would have to think that something's going on. Like they're trying to pull a fast one, because they do that sometimes. Like I remember when it was Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
I think Ricky Gervais. You never heard of him? He hosted the Oscars a few times, but like he's done like bits with people in the crowd and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just seemed very on brand for two. Well, I guess, is Will Smith a comedian?
Not really.
Not really.
He can be funny.
He's in comedy movies, but he doesn't do stand-up.
Right.
So I don't know, but if you hear Will Smith and Chris Rock, you instantly think, oh, it's probably like a sketch, or you think it's like an SNL type thing. But then as things started coming out about it and more people started talking about it, the more it became like, oh shit, this is real.
Right,
this is real. It's not planned. It was a heat of the moment thing, especially afterwards, like right afterwards, like he walked off and started like cursing him out. And I was like, yeah, no, okay, now I see. Because at first I didn't see the cursing out part. I just saw the slap. No, I saw the slap. It was like on Twitter, I think. And then afterwards I saw the full clip and I was like, yeah, no, that's a real slap. So,
but like, what did you think? Like, what did you think of it? Did you think that Will was he wrong for doing that, or did you think that he was justified in doing that in that moment at that time?
See, it's tough. Because, all right, so I can understand Will Smith trying to defend his wife's respect and her name and whatever.
Absolutely.
I get that.
Absolutely.
However, the joke that Chris Rock said was nowhere near as bad to get that kind of reaction.
Like a violent reaction.
Yeah, a violent reaction. Maybe the cursing out thing, maybe. Be like, yo, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Like that, I could understand if he said that. But to go up there and slap him in a live setting for millions of people that are watching, that seemed very over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it was warranted.
Uh,
So I'm of the opinion that Chris Rock was undeserving of that slap, and Will Smith was in the wrong.
okay. I don't remember what I said on our show. I really don't. It's
It's been a year.
been a year. We said a lot of things. So, and my opinions have gone, through the motion. I've gone through the motions with this issue over the last year because it's like, first of all, I love both Chris Rock and Will Smith.
Oh
I
yeah,
love them both. I love both their movies. I love both their stand-ups. Chris Rock is definitely one of my favorite comedians. Will Smith is like my second favorite actor after Denzel. So
really?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow,
Like my favorite actors are Denzel, Will Smith. Chadwick Boseman was getting up there before he
he was.
passed.
Yeah,
He was really getting up there. And
for me, for
I will
me,
have to say Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx is a good pick. I feel like Will Smith was kind of like he was always like a safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you saw him in a movie, you'd be like, okay, I feel like it'll be all right if I go see it, because I feel like he hasn't really had a bad performance. Honestly, the only one that off the top of my head I can think of was just like, oh wow, that was bad. Was that movie he did with Jaden? I forgot what it was called.
Pursuit of Happiness?
No, the other one. Jaden was a kid then. I'm talking about the one where he was like a teenager.
Oh,
They were like stranded on a planet. I completely forgot what it was called. That's how forgettable it was.
Hey, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
But it was so bad. Like I fell asleep watching it because first, and then in the movie, Will Smith tried to put on like a English accent. It was very weird and like jarring. But yeah, other than that, and I guess depending on how you feel, Wild Wild West was kind of like
Wild West was not one of his.
but that was like his first one. Like what do you expect? Like that was kind of like his breakout role aside from Men in Black. But
well, I mean, he was remember he was heavy on Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince was popping at the time, but
yeah, I'm talking about like movies though, because like there's not at least at the time there wasn't really too much crossover with like TV and movies. So like it was movie stars and then TV stars. He was one of the few that crossed over relatively like smoothly. Because
I agree.
like I said, he hasn't really had a bad movie. So yeah, so every time I saw a movie with Will Smith in it, I was like, okay, it'll be at least good. There hasn't been really one that I can think of that was just like, yeah, no, this is bad outside of that one that I was talking about. But yeah, so you were talking, I was just kind of interjecting.
It's cool because now what I was saying was that I love both of these guys. You know what I'm saying? Both of them, I practically grew up with them. You know what I'm saying? Like my sisters can quote Fresh Prince of Bel-Air off the top of their head. Like, you know what I mean? And I was more into his movies as opposed to, Fresh Prince. I was still kind of young when Fresh Prince came out, but I remember him more for his movies. I think my favorite movie by him is Pursuit of Happiness. But he's made some very Oscar-worthy performances. And then Chris Rock, he's the funny guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a New Yorker first and foremost.
Really? I didn't know that.
Chris Rock is from Brooklyn. You didn't know that? Bed-Stuy. No. You didn't know that? You never seen Everybody Hates Chris?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I never put two and two together.
Yes, he's from Brooklyn. So, we can kind of relate to him, so to speak. But, like I said, I love their work. I love both of them. They've had fantastic, legendary careers. So when this kind of happened, it was like, I was like, damn, do I really want to pick a side? I mean, like, I would be upset if someone came on stage while I was just doing my job and slapped me. Which is ironic because I started the show with that song, but it was like, like, dude, why, first of all, and we're going to get into this when we talk about the specials. It was like, of all people that you want to assault, you assault Chris Rock, the comedian, the funny guy, as opposed to retaliating against everybody else who was saying way worse things about y'all before Chris did anything. And what's crazy is Chris Rock didn't say anything about their marriage. He didn't say anything about their their kids, their
He even
relationship.
said it himself. He after he said the joke, he's like, "Oh, that was a good one," and I
Right.
was like, "Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a good one. Like that's
Right.
it's not bad."
Right. So for him to walk up on stage and slap him, it was just like, it was like, what? Like, why would you him? You
Yeah, of
know?
all
So
people.
of all people, so you know, it was kind of weird, but I was just like, nah, Will, you in the wrong for that, and you knew you was in the wrong for that because remember he won like minutes later he won the Oscar for Best Actor.
That part threw me off because again, I only saw the clip, so I only saw the slap. Then I
Well,
only saw the clip. I didn't know he went on to win the freaking Oscar,
yes,
and I was like, "Yo, what are the chances?"
and it was Boo who went on stage.
Because you knew that was it.
He knew he messed up. He
Yeah.
knew he messed up. So it was like, yo, my man, like, are you serious right now? So, you know, over the last year, we've heard the apology from Chris. I mean, from Will. Chris never responded publicly. And
No.
what's weird is Chris Rock went on tour right after the Oscars that year,
And he
last
didn't
year.
say anything about it.
At least not publicly. Remember, the
No.
shows were never broadcasted. They were never, I don't know if you know, but these days, um, comedians, and if they like certain venues, they start to lock your phones up so that way
Yeah,
you don't
I heard
like,
about that.
right? You know what I'm saying? So nobody got a recording of anything that Chris Rock has possibly said over the last year during the stand-ups.
The only thing I remember is people in attendance were saying like what he said. And I think initially at least he said I didn't want to talk about it right now.
Right. Right. But you know
So
what? I think so now we can get into the topic of his stand-ups, right? He did the Netflix special, the live Netflix special at that
yeah, I
last
didn't know it
Saturday.
was live.
Right. It was a live Netflix stand-up special called Selective Outrage. It broadcasted last Saturday on Netflix, like around 8 o'clock Eastern time or something like that. I don't remember. I didn't watch it when it was live, but I got a chance to watch it, I think Sunday. Yeah, Sunday afternoon. And boy, what a response. What a response. First of all, to wait an entire year to
Like I
see,
said, I think it was timed on purpose so that way it was fresh in people's mind that it was a year ago because the Oscars are coming up. People are going to be, oh, remember what happened last year? Like, I think it was all orchestrated that way.
which is, like I said, was just smart on his behalf because remember, he got a whole deal out of Netflix for this.
Yeah.
He got like a $40 million deal to talk about it. And he was like, it's just a smart business move because I'm like, you get $40 million to talk about something. If I'm going to talk about something that happened to me, I'm going to capitalize off of it.
Absolutely.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
That's the excellent business move right there.
Excellent business move. So, what did you think of the stand up overall? Not just the bit about
Okay.
what happened with the Oscars.
So I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah, as I expect you to be anything. I don't expect you to be anything but.
I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
I thought the kind of jokes, which I mean, he went. You said he went on tour like right after the whole slap, but it just felt like outdated jokes. Like he was talking about like woke stuff, and he was kind of like poking fun at that. But I feel like that's already old now. Nobody's really talking about that stuff, and he tried to like play or told the what is it like sit on the fence on certain things where like he would be like he would make fun of it but then you say oh but I'm for it and stuff like not to get into like to the minutia of it but yeah I felt like the jokes felt very dated. It felt very forced as well. Like he was trying to capitalize on all this stuff that was going on but it's like he didn't really know too much about it but he wanted to make it a joke because that's the topic thing. But honestly, even though the whole thing I felt like was kind of like lackluster, the part where he actually talked about Will Smith, I felt like kind of saved it. Even it was like the last like 20 minutes or so where he was just discussing at length about what happened, and I feel like that was worth like sitting through the rest of it, which depending on how you feel about it, like that, it may not be worth it. But
Yeah.
for me, it was because I literally, I was listening to it while I was like doing something, and like every now and again, I would look back at it, and then like I would just be like, "Yo, I'm not laughing at anything. Like nothing's really like sticking out to me." And I'm listening to it, so I'm like focusing on the words rather than like the whole like video aspect of it. But once you got to the Will Smith part, then it started getting a little bit funny, and I thought that at least was good. But overall, it was kind of missable.
It was definitely mid. I can say that it wasn't his best special.
No,
It
I felt
definitely was.
like the other one that he did. What was it? Tambourine, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
Tambourine.
Yeah, that one was a lot better.
That was his first Netflix one. His best, his absolute best stand up special is Bring the Pain, which is from like 95.
Oh, I didn't.
1995. If you ever get a chance, you have on YouTube, whatever, you got like an hour and some change to spare. Go back and watch Chris Rock Bring the Pain. It was hilarious. It was his best special, but that was like 30 years ago, so the jokes hit differently. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Another one that was good was Never Scared, which was like 2003. Yeah, it was like 2003.
What was the one where he filmed it in like 3 different areas?
Oh, that was another HBO one.
He filmed it 3 and then like spliced them together.
It was in Johannesburg, New York, and
I think London.
Washington D.C.
No, I remember there was one where he was like overseas.
Yeah, that was it. He filmed pieces in Johannesburg, in New York, and in I forgot the third city, and maybe Washington D.C. It might be somewhere in California, but I know which one you're talking about. I just forgot the name. That one was good too.
Yeah, that one was good. That sticks out in my mind.
No one came out in like 2009, I think.
Yeah, it was like the late 2010s or something like that,
So
or late 2000s.
we were in high school when that one came out, so I know which
It
one
it
you're talking
did.
about.
Yeah, I remember because I used to watch it on HBO. Like they would give it every now and again, and I had it at the time, and I would put it on.
So yeah, this one definitely fell somewhere in the bottom tier of his overall body of work, but I still enjoyed it because, like I said, I grew up with Chris Rock, so I understand where his comedic angles come from, and to your point about some of the material that's dated. Remember, we hadn't heard from him for a year.
Exactly. That's
So
why it felt weird because at first I thought it was like, oh, it's been a while since he's done this. Maybe he's just trying to catch up on a bunch of stuff. But you said he went on tour after the whole slap. So I'm like, this isn't like anything him being rusty. It's
yeah,
just I don't know. It just didn't land for me for whatever reason.
No, that's fair. That's completely fair. A lot of people actually feel the same way. Like, you know, this is definitely one of his more polarizing specials because a lot of people were just like, oh, it wasn't that funny, or some of his jokes were cruel. And then the piece that he did about Will Smith and Jada was kind of unwarranted. I was like, why do you think that? Because I'm like, this is his first time actually speaking about it publicly since it happened. So he can really say what he wants. So let's get into that piece a little bit about what he actually said about the incident, because I was just like, I kind of figured that he would wait till the end to do it.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I think it went from a comedy special to therapy, because when you watched it and you heard the way that he spoke, remember he actually messed up one of the jokes.
Yeah, he did.
So it was like I felt like he kind of relived the night all over again. Relive the embarrassment, the humiliation, the pain, the physical
the
pain,
humiliation.
Right. I think he kind of relived all that again, and it kind of to resurface. That's the word I'm talking about. Resurface, and he started to feel the way that he felt again, because he said, people ask him if the slap hurt. He said, yeah, it hurts. It still hurts. You know what I mean? So
yeah, emotionally.
He said, I still got summertime ringing in my ears. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like this was him finally, like, kind of a mix between getting it off his chest and reliving it that night. And I feel like it was a good response because I expected him to kind of not like, I didn't expect him to go as hard as he did, but I felt like he kind of needed to go that hard.
He did. I mean, like I said, I felt like Will Smith wasn't the wrong in that, and it took a lot for Chris to hold in, because even when after the slap, like you could tell he wanted to like either do something back or like rip him apart like verbally, and he even said he was like, "Boy, I could," and then he just stopped himself. So you could tell he wanted to, but he held it in because, as he said in the special, he has parents. They didn't raise him that way. So it's like he had to have some self-respect, because even if he were to like react like physically against Will, that just makes them both look bad. At least now he can save face and be like, yeah, Will Smith slapped me, but now look at what he's dealing with. Like, he's going through a downward spiral. He's suffering. He's losing movie roles because of it. Like, he's going through it. And Chris is, I don't want to say he's reaping the benefits. Oh, he kind of is, because now he made this pretty much his whole special about it, building up to it. But he really doesn't get affected by it, because he got this Netflix special. I'm pretty sure he's still getting movies. Like, he'll be fine.
Right.
Emotionally, that's different, which is what you alluded to, that this was kind of like therapy for him, that he was able to finally speak his mind in a setting that he's more comfortable in. Not like on a talk show or a podcast or anything like that, where a lot of times they just say things. He can be himself on the stage telling jokes.
And I'm glad that you said that, because he mentioned that too. He was like, I'm not a victim. You know what I'm saying? Like, he refuses to accept the label of being a victim, because he was like, you're not going to see me on Oprah. You're not going to see me on Gail. You're not going to see me on The View.
Right.
You're not going to see me on anything talking about, oh, Will Smith smacked me. No, he refused that. He rejected that. So, you know, as a black guy, you know, sometimes the world can't really see you as a victim.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the fact that he kind of disowned that idea anyway, it's kind of like two-faced. Well, not two-faced, it's kind of like if in there, like A and B, because it's like, you were victimized. You were traumatized in front of literally the entire world. And at the same time, you're not going to be like, nah, like I'm not going to take this line down, and I'm actually going to reclaim my image, because I'm not going to be the guy who got slapped by Will Smith on the stage. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go on this victim tour trying to gather sympathy and whatnot for, you know, for what happened. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to turn the page, and I'm going to respond in a way, like you said, in the best way that makes me feel comfortable, through comedy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to laugh about it.
Right.
But I don't think he laughed. In at the end of that, he wasn't laughing, because, you know, he called Jada a bitch. He said that people were calling Will Smith a bitch. And something that he said was something that I felt too. It was like, it really wasn't about Chris Rock. It was more so about Jada.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think he was really mad at Jada for basically making him look like a cuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, you know, I get.
No, I was going to say, I remember the last time when you and Tay spoke about it, you were mentioning how this was kind of like Will Smith kind of reclaiming some type of like self-confidence, I guess, because of everything that happened between him and Jada with the whole August, whatever, I think that's his name, right?
August.
Yeah, so that whole situation, and the fact that like he was on their show or her show, whoever it is, talking openly about what happened, kind of like tiptoeing around it, and then you could see, like, I post the meme all the time of Will Smith's face, just like he wants to break down and like cry, but he can't, because he's trying to be, you know, put on a tough face, not maybe tough face, but like, you know, he can't cry. A facade. There you go. Like, things are okay. Like, we were just working through it, but clearly this was just him kind of like wanting to like break out of that, and he wanted to do something to show everybody that I'm still Will Smith. I have some integrity. He chose the wrong time to do it, but he did it anyway, and he's suffering the consequences of it. And like you said, it has more to do with his relationship with Jada and their whole dynamic than anything else. Because like Chris Rock was just the innocent bystander in this case. Well, maybe not innocent, but like he was he got caught in the crossfire.
Right, he got there. That's right. That's exactly what it is. Because it was like, remember, like I just said, the joke wasn't about their marriage. It wasn't about their family. It wasn't about their children. It wasn't about anything that happened. In fact, Chris Rock said, I called Will to offer my condolences when, they did that thing, the red table talk, and he never answered me.
Yeah.
So, the joke wasn't about them. It was just about Jada's hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which anybody will make fun of anybody for anything. We live in
nobody knew about her condition or whatever. So it's like how
well, you only know if you follow her on social media like that.
Yeah, if you're in the know, then yeah. But obviously I doubt Chris Rock is keeping tabs on Jada Pinkett Smith.
Right.
So there's no way he could have known. Other than going up to Jada being like, hey, I'm gonna make fun of you. Is it okay? Which that's like, why would you do that as a comic?
Right. You're not gonna know. As comedians don't do that.
No.
If they see you up front, they're gonna make fun of you.
Exactly. That's every comedian. Like any comedy club, if you're in front, like I've been to comedy clubs, I've gotten picked on for like just stupid shit, but because I'm up front, it's easy to pick me out. So like if you're up front, you're gonna get picked on. You should expect that.
Exactly. And at the Oscars, they always hire the comedian to do just that, to make fun of the people in the crowd.
Right.
And the fact that he was hosting this year was, well, he didn't host last year. He was just a presenter, right?
No, he was hosting, I think.
No, I think he hosted the year.
Oh, the year prior, because
one of those years.
It was one of the years prior. I do remember that Jada did have kind of beef with him because he was hosting the Oscars when she was trying to stage like a protest,
yeah,
because of the, what is it, Oscars so too white, so white. That's what it was. So she gave him beef or like grief about it because he was still there, and I think he even joked about it too. So,
my biggest problem with the whole slap thing, and I think I kind of alluded to it earlier, was just that you have smoke for the comedian as opposed to literally everybody else. You know what I mean? You want to punch Chris Rock, you want to slap Chris Rock, a man that's half your size practically, on stage in front of everybody, because he's not going to do anything back.
Right. Yeah. Will Smith's freaking tall, and I mean, maybe he's not jacked, but he's in decent shape. Whereas Chris Rock, he's like
short and skinny.
Yeah. So it's like he's not gonna do anything because he can't really do anything to a guy like Will Smith.
Exactly. So it was like, if it was The Rock, you're not gonna do that. If it was Mike Tyson, or if it was Tyler Perry, or if it was somebody else, you're not gonna go on stage and slap him like that. You know what I'm saying? But because it's Chris Rock, you're gonna do that. And that's really what I had a problem with. I'm like, the entire internet was making fun of you and your family over this. Chris Rock didn't do that. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of, I think I mentioned this last year too on the show with Tay, where it was like, kind of reminds me, remember the whole Terry Crews thing?
Oh yeah, where like somebody grabbed him, or something like that.
So he, he got sexually assaulted in front of his wife, mind you.
Right.
His wife was present. A Hollywood executive grabbed his whole beef in front of his wife. Terry Crews didn't do anything about it. He just kind of let it happen, right? But then here comes D.L. Hughley, another comedian, saying, hey, Terry, you kind of brolic, bro. Like,
why didn't you do something?
You could have fucked this nigga up. Pardon my language, but like, you could have could have at least roughhoused him. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
But
don't ever.
then look at what happened with Will. Like, he lost a lot of, like, I don't want to say he lost a lot of money, but he lost a lot of roles and sponsorships and all that. I remember he was talking about, I think it was on Instagram, or I don't know. There was something I saw where he was doing kind of like a rundown of like everything that he is. I can't remember what it was that he didn't lose, but like he's missing out on a lot of stuff because of the whole slap. Like, he's not being offered as many roles as he used to. And for someone like Terry Crews, whose career is like, I don't want to say it's like skyrocketing, but it's still like on the, like, going upward. Like, he's slowly building his like career up to being someone that's more reliable that you can call on to have these roles. I mean, he's still kind of like a B actor or something
A
like
bit of a
that. He's not.
celebrity, yeah.
Yeah, so if he were to like act out in that way, he would have been gone from Hollywood.
But here's my thing with that. It was like, one, this happened in front of your wife. Your wife can corroborate your story. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, my husband, like, this dude literally grabbed my husband's dick in front of me, and on some freak shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah,
not cool. You're not gonna just grab my husband's beef in front of me and him not do anything. Like, how did you expect him to react? Second, everybody and this is where I parallel it with Will's situation. It was like, yo, everybody and their mama was saying, yo, Terry, you could have did something about it. You can that is a situation where you can physically retaliate, especially in one of those situations, because remember, this was during the height of Me Too. So, everybody was coming out saying, oh, this happened to me and I felt powerless. Terry Crews in that situation is not necessarily powerless because he can retaliate.
physically.
That's what I'm saying.
Physically,
That's
yes.
right. Most of these women cannot physically or systematically retaliate. You know what I'm saying?
But that's where the issue is.
It was
He
all of
can't.
the above. He can retaliate physically, but my point was, everybody was saying, yo, Terry, you could at least did something about it. But he only went back at DL Hughley because DL Hughley was like, he made the joke about it. You know what I'm saying? And it was over Twitter too. So he was retaliating against him over Twitter, but you ain't have no smoke for nobody else. You ain't say nothing to nobody else. But the minute DL Hughley came out and said it,
That's, like I said, it's well, like you said, it's the systematic part of it that even if he were to like oust whoever did it and kind of like shout him out or even physically like rough him up, or like you said, or whatever, his career's over. Like,
I
it,
don't necessarily think that though.
I think so, but those people are in charge of his career. Like, whether you want to admit it or not, like as Terry Crews, those people control your career. So if you were to do that's like your job. Like, if your supervisor or your boss, whoever, came at you some way like that, obviously the quickest reaction is to retaliate, like physically, whatever. Yo, what the fuck, like, and then start something. You would be in the right. However, they kind of control whether or not. Well, again, maybe this is not a good scenario because it's more to do with like corruption. Because Hollywood is like ripe with corruption. So it's like even though these people were definitely in the wrong, there was witnesses. His wife saw it. They can still make sure that he doesn't have a role like going forward.
Well, I mean, this also happened to Brendan Fraser.
That too. Yeah,
he
exactly.
outed the guy who did it, but yet Brendan Fraser's career is still ongoing. In fact, he just won a
Well, no, he took a long break because he couldn't get roles.
No, he took a break because he was that distraught about it.
I mean, yes, that's also true, but it was also part of that because of that inability to get roles. I mean, this also happened with somebody recently, actually. It was one of the actresses in Stranger Things that she stopped getting roles because she wouldn't have sex with one of the producers on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or maybe it wasn't on the show, but it was like a producer. and yeah, she openly admitted, she was like, yeah, no, I'm not
I'm
about that life.
blacklisted. Yeah, that's crazy.
So now she's like out. She's
She's
streaming now on
blacklisted.
Twitch. Yeah, pretty much. So she does streaming now. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like either you can suck it up and continue on making money, or you can speak out, retaliate, and then you won't make as much money.
Well,
And that's exactly what Chris Rock did, because you just said he made $44 million off of this shit. So
I don't know. I just felt like, you know, Chris didn't deserve that. Chris Rock definitely did not deserve that. You know, I think will bounce back. I mean,
he's in the process of bouncing back.
Bouncing back. He made Emancipation, which we got to talk about that joke he did and he made about the slavery joke. We got to unpack that a little bit.
That was actually pretty good.
Now it was. Listen, but you know, a lot of people were upset with Chris Rock for making that joke, and I'm like, y'all don't really understand the context of the joke then, because he prefaced it by saying that he loves Will Smith, that he's rooted for Will Smith, and that, you know, he basically lauded Will Smith for his career and how much he appreciates him, how much he loves his work. And now he's just like, yeah, I want to see you get whipped, because
it's like this is what you did. You pushed me to this.
And I'm just like, why are people mad at that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you mad at him for feeling the way that he feels about someone who traumatized him? A lot of people get traumatized every day and wish death on their traumatizers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, y'all phony, which is the point of the special, was like selective outrage. Y'all are mad about that, but you're okay. You're perfectly okay with him slapping me. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. That's how we do it. Yeah. You know, how'd you feel about that joke?
I didn't really think of it. I got it. It was funny, and that's it. Like, that's all it was. Like, it wasn't really, I didn't dig too deep into it.
Why?
Because I understood where he was coming from. It wasn't like, if he had made that joke without the whole slapping thing, then that would be, yo, what the hell?
Way out of pocket, right?
Yeah, it's like, yo, that's a little much. But because he got physically assaulted by Will Smith. If somebody physically assaulted me, I would want to watch them to get whipped too.
I think people forget just how serious that thing was. They asked Chris Rock, yo, do you want him arrested and press charges on him?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he could have gotten him arrested that night. So,
yeah,
you know, people, keep y'all selective outrage. You know what I'm saying? Because if you slap me, we got to fight. Either we fighting or you going to jail. But it's like Chris Rock said, we don't fight in front of white people. So, you know. Chris Rock wasn't the only one who made a special about it.
Yeah, which very interesting. Marlon Waynes.
Yo, Marlon.
Of all people.
Marlon is a clown, bro.
All right, when I first heard about this, because you told me to watch it, I heard that he had a special and you told me to watch it. I was like, what does this have to do with the whole Will Smith thing? And I was just like, okay. So I saw like a brief clip of it, and I'm gonna be honest, I was like, yo, this looks corny as fuck. I really didn't want to watch it. But then I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So I put on, like, at work, and I'm listening to it. I'm just like, yo, this is actually pretty funny. Yeah. Like, there was some things that I was like, oh, shit, okay. Maybe it was just because I had low expectations that it kind of surprised me. But I was like, yo, this is low-key funnier than the Chris Rock special. But it is still weird how he turned something that it had nothing to do with him into a whole special and kind of wove his own story into it. It was very interesting.
That's the brilliance of Marlon Wayans. So, okay, I don't know. Did you grow up watching, like, Wayans stuff?
Not, like, a lot. I've seen their TV show. Why am I blanking on them?
The Color?
No.
The Wayans Brothers sitcom?
The Wayans Brothers. Was it called The Wayans Brothers?
Yes.
Okay.
The sitcom with Sean and Marlon, yes.
Yes, I've seen that. Not a lot. I've seen a few episodes. I've seen In Living Color. I've seen a few of their movies. Um, like Don't Be a Menace.
Mm-hmm. The scary first two scary
The
movies.
scary movies. Um, and then honestly, that's about it. Like I really didn't like grow up with them. They were
You ever watch My Wife and Kids?
so it's funny. I've always seen clips of it. I've never seen like a full episode though.
Oh, it
Like
was.
I've always seen it's always on like if I'm in like the hospital and it's just on TV or like I'm in the break room at my job. Like it's one of those situations where it's on. I'm not really watching it. I'm kind of like looking at it every now and again, but um yeah. So I never really seen a full episode like sitting down.
So okay, so I'm gonna just put it to you like this, right? The Wayans family is black excellence personified. Like they're like,
No, I know that part.
bro, they're like the Jacksons of comedy and film, bro. Like if I okay, so when Michael Jackson died, right? They
Mhm.
redid the BET Awards like on the fly because he died, I think like on a Friday. The show was on a Monday, and they just redid the entire show to honor Michael Jackson, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if you remember that, but Joe Jackson was in attendance, right? I think Joe and Catherine were in attendance at that time, and Marlon and Sean, and I think maybe Damon and Keenan, I'm not sure, but I remember Marlon and Sean were on stage and they were presenting something, and Marlon said to Joe Jackson, he was like, "If it weren't for the Jacksons, there would be no Wayans." And I was like, "Oh shit, he's right." You know what I mean? Like he's like that's actually, and I started to go back through all the stuff that they made over the years. I'm like, yo, they're all successful. None of them are broke and destitute, and they put out some quality stuff. It may not be like mainstream to the
Right.
audience. It's not like like that kind of stuff, but it's actually some really good quality work that they put out. They really are like black royalty. So and to me, Marlon has always been the funniest. That's
Yeah.
that's just how I feel.
Absolutely.
Like he's
Yeah, no, he definitely was.
he is the funniest Wayne. So when he did the special and he told the story, I was just sitting there listening. I felt like you. I was like, what does this have to do with you, bro?
Right.
And then he explained it all. He was like, oh, like Chris Rock practically bullied him as a kid. He took his
Yeah.
role and took Jada from him, and Will kind of took Jada from him. So it was like, okay, so now all this comes together. That one night, this particular thing happens and allows Marlon to come up. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I thought it was funny. I thought that Marlon actually told a really good story about it. But I
No,
think,
he did.
but you know, my only question is how are Will and Jada gonna respond to these?
Honestly, they they probably won't, to be honest. They probably I mean, if they were to say anything, it would probably be on like that red table thing. I guess talking about what happened because I don't think Will outside of that apology has ever talked about it like in depth
And
about what happened, what was like going through his mind and stuff like that because who knows what was going through his mind. But he hasn't really like said anything, so maybe they just keep it that way. Maybe they try to like lay low because they don't want that negative press to constantly follow them. They want to just like let it pass. Like it happened. People gonna talk. Let them talk.
I don't know because it's out there. Like
It
it
is
happened, and now these two comedy specials are out there, and they can't be taken down. You know what I'm saying? Netflix isn't gonna take down the Chris Rock special. Um, HBO Max certainly is not gonna take down that special. Um, if I'm Will and Jada, I just take it on the chin and be like, you know
exactly,
what? They got their lick back. Or at least Chris.
exactly.
Chris got his lick back, and now we move on. I don't know. Like, do you think that Chris will ever accept Will's apology?
Probably not for a long time. Like they say time heals all wounds. I mean, I've experienced that where eventually you're just like, yo, I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of like trying to tiptoe around it or like act weird around you when we're in the same vicinity. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure they still attend the same stuff. Maybe not at the same time, but it's like you're in the same circles with people. So it's like you don't want that awkwardness to be there. I'm pretty sure they have the same friends that are or people who are close to them. So I think eventually Chris will come around and be like, you know what, it's bygones be bygones. But it's gonna be a while.
I
Probably like
don't know.
maybe
No,
another 5 years, maybe or maybe when Will Smith is back allowed in the Oscars in 10 years. What is it?
yeah, it was a 10-year ban, which is crazy to think because realistically speaking, Will could be dead in 10 years.
How old is he?
He's like 56, 57.
Really?
Will Smith is in his 50s, bro.
I know he's in his 50s. I don't know, it was like late 50s.
He's aged gracefully.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah, look it up real fast. Maybe Chris Rock is in his late 50s.
he's 54.
He's 54, so he's in his mid 50s. So
Okay.
at 60, well, at the time he was 53 when it happened.
I
At
mean,
63, he could possibly be dead. You know how black men, we just die.
Chris Rock is 58.
Okay, so yeah, so Chris Rock is 58. He could definitely be dead in 10 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So with the way that people are dying left and right, celebrities just die out of nowhere, 10 years is a long time to not be recognized for your work,
true.
to not receive it.
Although, but like, I think what's so uh like crazy about it is that like, wait, was this his first Oscar or no?
His first Oscar for Best Actor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm saying if it is, then it really doesn't matter. He already won it.
I think it is because only, in fact, Chris Rock, I think, said it. No, not Chris Rock. Marlon said it.
That
That
he
only
should have
like,
won it for Pursuit of Happiness.
right. He also mentioned that like only 5 black men have won the Oscar for Best Actor. And Denzel won it twice. And I think he beat Will Smith for one of them. So
So then, yeah. So
I mean,
if that's the case, then it really doesn't. He did it. Like that's it. Like you don't really. There's no dragon to chase. Like he already achieved the top of the mountain. I mean, yeah, he could go again, or he could have if he didn't get banned, but there's really don't need to now. He proved that he. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Is I personally wouldn't. If I was him, I wouldn't even care. Like I'd just be like, I did it. That's it. I'll just do movies whenever I can.
you know, I don't know, because if I'm still gonna continue to make movies, you know, of course, well, me personally, I don't give a damn about like individual awards. I never did.
Well, yeah, no, these award shows are bullshit anyway.
Yeah, they're all
I don't
BS.
understand why people take so much stock into them. But then again, I'm not an actor, so it's like maybe their egos. You have to have an inflated ego to be an actor.
Well, it's not only that, but it's also a good negotiating tool. And I learned this when it comes
Yes,
to sports. Also, if you win awards, it helps you get more roles and more money for your roles.
true.
You know what I
Because
mean?
they do use that in advertising, like
Mhm.
Academy Award winning, blah 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 blah.
Mhm. So it's like, I want to be recognized for my work. You know what I mean? I'm not just some slouch that, that goes unaccredited and under, whatchamacallit, underachieve. I'm not an underachiever.
Right.
So I want to be recognized and awarded for my work, but at the same time, I'm like, it's the Oscars. Who cares?
Like I
It's
said, you'd probably have to be in the industry to really understand it. Because
right.
there's probably a lot that we don't even know.
Oh, there's definitely that we don't know. Like they probably gatekeep a lot. Like
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't even know Whoopi was on the Oscar thing myself. You know what I'm saying? Like
Whoopi Goldberg?
yes, like she was part of the panel that made the decision to ban him.
Oh shit.
Exactly. I didn't
I didn't
even
know
know
that.
that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it, I think okay. So when it comes to Will and Chris, I hope that they can reconcile. Also, I really
Yeah.
do because I don't want to see two black men at war with each other over the rest of their lives. You know what I mean?
Especially over a fucking woman. Like,
That's gonna lead me to my next point. I
yeah.
really hope Will divorces her. Like
Yeah. That, I mean, we could do a whole episode because I think you guys did already talking about their whole dynamic and
I think
like
we
what.
dove into some of it. I don't think we did an entire episode, but it was just like they're like, bro, she's not like will you even go deep into like the foundation of their relationship and their marriage? They have two completely different views on love and marriage. Like
Mhm.
she grew up in very unconventional in a family dynamic that had very unconventional relationships where people were, basically hopping from person to person and whatnot.
Yeah.
He grew up in a very strict Christian household with a mother and a father and a family structure that he tried to replicate. So when
Mhm.
he tried to get her to replicate what he had, she's like,
She wasn't with it.
she's not with it, and it shows.
Mhm.
So I don't know. He needs to get out of that marriage. I really do. I really think he needs to get out of that.
I think it's hard because like he does want to keep that thing to like that unit together, and I mean, granted, his kids are older now, so it's like it's not that big of like a like split. Like they can still co-parent. Like I do that. Like
Mhm.
it's not. It doesn't have to be difficult, but knowing, I mean, grant I don't even know her, but just knowing what I do know about her,
What they were, what they tell us.
yeah, what they tell us, what's been out, and her demeanor on certain things,
Mhm.
she wouldn't make it an easy process. And that's probably why he doesn't want to do it.
It's cheaper to keep her.
What?
Cheaper to keep her.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
Listen, man. This is why it's who you marry is probably like the most important decision that you'll make, and you know this better than I do. So,
yeah.
you know, at least you got it figured
Yeah,
out.
it's
But you gotta take all that stuff into consideration when you're marrying somebody, because you never know when you have to hear why your wife cheated on you with one of your son's friends. You never know. So,
that's still insane. Like just even saying it like that. Like how does that even happen? Like
and, and here's
that should have been it. Like that. Nah, I don't know.
because if Will did that, he'd be seen as a predator.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If he started dating one of Willow's friends,
He'll be seen as a creep. He'll be seen as like just yeah. People would have dogged on him so hard, but because it's a guy and it was Jada, it's not
it's
that
not that bad.
bad.
He knew what he was doing. He was an adult. What?
Right. Yeah. No.
Which kind of
It's
leads me to grind my gears just a little bit,
what's that?
because remember, people are getting on Leonardo DiCaprio for dating younger women.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, are you serious right now? Like, first of all, if they're legally of age, no, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna say legally of age because 18 is legally of age, but still too young. To me, anything under 21, you're gross. But like,
I was going to say it is gross. It's weird. But as long as it's not illegal, then like what more can you say? I mean, you can that's all you can say. It's just it's gross, it's weird. Why are you doing that? Date people your age. But if it's not illegal, then I don't know.
uh, it's weird because now you also okay. Look at is it Cher? Cher's dating this 36-year-old dude. Mind you, she's old enough to be his grandmother, and it's like,
That's what I'm saying. It's weird.
hey,
But
nasty motherfucker.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like we can all admit that that stuff is weird and it shouldn't happen. But as long as they're consenting adults, what are you gonna do?
Right. But meanwhile, if Will did this, he'd be a predator.
Oh yeah, no, he would be a predator. He would be dragged for this.
Selective outrage.
Especially by Jada. She would have went on that talk show and outed him and ruined his career that way. That would have been, but then she tried to like spin it as something not as bad.
Exactly.
And Will kind of let it happen. Honestly, I wonder if this has to do more with their whole, which I don't know if it's still a thing, the whole, what was it called? The Scientology? Yeah. Is he still with that? I remember there was like, he kind of like donated it, but then he kind of like distanced himself from it.
So I think he just tried to like see what it was about. You know, just open your mind a little bit, see what's going on here. Kind of got dabbled in a little bit. Saw what was going on and said, you know what?
Nah.
I'm good. You know, I'm out, y'all. This ain't for me.
Okay. No, because I know he had some ties to it, but I don't know to what extent. Yeah, no, this whole situation is just
strange. It's weird.
Very strange.
Let's just hope that they can reconcile, you know, and now that everybody's got their feelings out in the open, now they can probably talk about it. Maybe who knows? Maybe Chris Rock will actually go to the red table talk, and
that would be something.
That would be something, right?
I would watch that. Fact. I don't watch that, but I would watch that.
I've only watched 2 episodes of Red Table Talk. The one with obviously the entanglement, and then the one with Kevin Hart. Other than that, I've never watched their show, and I probably wouldn't ever again unless Chris Rock was on it. So,
yeah.
Do you have a rant for Grind My Gears, or was that pretty much it?
No, that was it. I mean, there's nothing that sticks out of my mind. I'm sure I had something, but that's the thing. I need to write these down because it happens to me like in the middle of the day, and I'll be like, oh, I want to talk about this, and then I'll just forget.
Yeah.
I need to write them down.
Write it down.
Write it down.
So, yeah, people, tell us your thoughts and your views on the 2 specials by Marlon and Chris. How do you feel about the situation? Do you think that Chris Rock's response was good? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How do you feel about Marlon's stand-up? How he kind of interjected himself into the whole scenario? Just tell us your thoughts and your opinions. You can reach us where at, producer?
Excuse me, brother at gmail.com. Or is excuse me, brother podcast at gmail.com?
Excuse me, brother podcast, yes.
Okay. And you can look in the link tree. It's in the description. I know Tay would get upset with me for saying that, but I can't memorize all that stuff. It's a lot.
That's why I'm surprised he does it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how he remembers all that. Like, it's so hard. But yeah, you can catch us on the socials. It's in the description.
Word.
Promise.
We promise you. In fact, Tay should be back next week, right?
He should be, and hopefully, well, I mean, we'll see, but maybe next week we can start our brackets, which we've been planning for a few weeks now.
Oh yeah, March is almost over.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
Whoa, wait, is March really almost over? We're like midway through?
Almost midway through.
Yeah, we gotta get it.
Yeah, we gotta do it. So we'll figure that out, but hopefully next week.
All right, y'all. Peace, love, soul. Remember, slap somebody.
Feel like, but not on TV and the Oscars,
right? Slap a nigga today. Slap slaps.